Hello everyone, welcome to the B episode of Debugging TV Frames program. You can type your questions during this episode. If I can't answer particular questions now, I then post answers on the website debugging.tv. I quickly discuss some topics, such as on this list. First, I show you Xcode project build options related to symbol files. Then we look at a code dump from a process with stripped symbolic debugging information, and then we load external symbol file to see a meaningful stack trace. The project and code we use is the same as from the previous episode A. So I go to Xcode now. This is the project that we used in the previous episode, the same source code. If we go to build settings, we might want to generate debug symbols to enable this, if this is not enabled by default. Then we switch off optimization level, just to make debugging easier even for release level projects. What other options do we have? This is for code generation of debug symbols. There are deployment options. So we need to enable deployment post-processing. This is necessary that symbols are stripped from executable. So you see that after compilation and linking phases, we tell to strip debug symbols for release version, strip linked product, and strip style all symbols. This can be actually useful for obfuscation, code obfuscation. So what I did, I also mirrored all these options on slides and put a yellow arrow. So what I missed is for build options, debug information format is specified to have separate symbol file for release version. So these are deployment options and code generation options. So we compile link, run application, it crashes, produces a core file. So now we use a terminal session. What we do, we launch GDB debugger and specify executable and core file. So core file is loaded. If we type backtrace, what we see stack trace, no symbols. This is equivalent for Windows debugging. This is equivalent to I would say when you open a crash dump in WinDBG debugger or CDB debugger, and you see stack trace such as module plus offset. This is roughly equivalent. So you don't have any function names. What to do here? We need to know, first of all, we need to know the start of code section, so we can apply symbol files and apply these symbol files to the right section. So we see that all code on stack trace has this beginning. I highlight it. It's 1OD3BO. So there is another command, maintenance info sections. So first of all, it gives you sections for executable, but if you continue, it gives you also sections for core file. And what we're interested, of course, for this code section, you see the same starting address. So what we need to do, we use another command now, add symbol file, and then actually there is auto completion, so we can do something like add you see symbol file, and then we specify folder. I put symbol files to this folder relative to my user folder, documents, work, test. There is mistake. And then actually it's test.theme. This is how I named. And then we specify this address. Section address. It says, it asks us yes or no. We say yes, and then if we try to get backtrace, we get good backtrace, exactly the same that we had during the previous episode where we discussed exception thread and null pointer patterns. So I put all this output, colored output, on this slide. All GDB output. So this is all for this episode. So I continue with macOS X GDB Xcode for a while and try to come up with more examples for the next episode for the next week. The ban AD slide is the same as from the previous episode. No more training sessions scheduled. And don't forget that on April the 2nd, on Monday, there is a free webinar, Introduction to Software Narratology. You are welcome to attend. And so, thank you for watching this episode. Please later check out the slides and recorded video from debugging.tv. And the next episode is scheduled for the next week. It should be 6th of April, I believe. So there are some questions. Do you plan to offer any examples for debugging Android and or iOS dumps? This is exactly what I was thinking about iOS actually today and yesterday, and I consider also debugging sessions for iOS as well, and thinking also about Android as well. And if I come up with something, I also let you all know about that on debugging.tv and on my blog as well. This is all interesting to experience the same debugging problems and patterns on different platforms, and it helps to troubleshoot and debug complex issues on platforms, on mutually helps, because it gives more ideas and perspectives for each platform. Again, thank you very much for attending this session, and see you next week. Bye-bye.